You are now tuned into Flippin the Birds, a Philly Sports Network podcast.
What's going on, Eagles fans? Welcome all to episode 97 of Flippin the Birds. I'm Brian Cameron alongside Kristen Fonse and Morgan Burkett, and we are following week one. What is up with your face?
We're gonna start off by me sharing my screen. Hold on a minute.
Why?
I'm gonna share my screen.
Why can't we start the podcast with just pure happiness and joy?
No, I'm very curious about this. Hold on. Okay.
Can we introduce the podcast before you show
look
us?
Look at this. Okay, look at this. All right, so I'm on DHgate right now. Looking at jerseys. For those of you that don't know, DHgate is China, so I don't care. I'll pay $20. Look at this price, $20 for that's fine. I don't care. So here's Jalen Hurts. Here's Miles Sanders, right? Okay. Here's Brian Dawkins, and if you see below, Brandon Graham, Jason Eckert. If you want to get it, Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson one. Okay. That's fine, right?
So what's the issue? Who the freak is Robinson?
Why is there an Allen Robinson jersey on DH? Do the Chinese know something that we don't know?
That's pretty interesting.
They are like 2 hours ahead, right? So.
I don't know. Okay, hold on. Okay, stop sharing. Okay, there we go.
But anyways, we are following a week one victory for the Philadelphia Eagles as they routed the Falcons 32-6. An impressive victory from Nick Sirianni mostly. I mean, I was mostly impressed with Sirianni and Hurts. The defense, though, the way they adjusted in the second half. Before I kind of give all my takeaways from the game, I want to pick your brains. Like, how do you guys feel after this win?
You can go, Morgan. I'm still flabbergasted by Allen Robinson.
I feel good, man. I think that's our immediate response is to overreact. So I'm still, holding my tongue. But I mean, you can't really ask for much better out of the first game of the season. I mean, your takeaway was the offense. I think mine was the defense and just how creative it was already. I mean, we saw like one of those goal line stands where Derek Barnett dropped back into coverage like 3 times in a row. Stuff like that just gets me amped. Like that's
wild.
I don't think I would have ever thought of that. Dropping him back into coverage, he did pretty well. Obviously, made the stops that he needed to make. So, it's just I don't know. It's just going to be exciting football to watch. But I'm holding my tongue. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think that the next couple of weeks, I don't think that this game showed me anything to think that we can beat like the Bucs or anything like that yet. But
so while Chris looks still flabbergasted, I'm gonna actually just take the mic from here. I'm impressed, and again, I'm not gonna jump overboard and say like Super Bowl bust. No, like what impressed me the most about this game was if you're looking at the offense, the creativity behind this offense was phenomenal, and how prepared this offensive line, how prepared the running game, how prepared the wide receivers, and how prepared the freaking quarterback was for this game was amazing to me. Like we actually watched the football game, and it's a huge hit for last season. We saw Nick Sirianni throw creative plays after creative plays, and like the way they lined up, it was just amazing. And they committed to the run game.
Yeah,
which a lot of people out there are down on Miles Sanders because they feel like he should be more than what he is. But you can't be more than what you are if they're not committing to you. Like if they're not running the ball, how do you expect the running back to actually perform? And it was great to see Kenny Gainwell, RB2 Kenny Gainwell, show out as well. It was great to see J.J. Arcega-Whiteside blocking wide receiver 3. J.J. No, I'm joking. But it was great to see that. And I don't know, just like how prepared the team was going into this matchup was a sight for sore eyes. That's the best way to explain it.
Yeah.
This is my turn?
Are you ready?
No, I'm not ready. You can go ahead.
Well, to answer Ron's question real quick, he's prepared. Do you see those penalties? I mean, if you're you gotta understand what I'm saying was prepared. So the team went in there. First and foremost, they went in there as underdogs, but they were prepared to attack everything the Falcons had to throw at them. Like it was the first couple drives were screen passes. It was to get Jalen Hurts into a rhythm and to see what the Falcons were how they were going to line up against this offense. The running game, the run blocks. Like to me, that's a very well prepared team. Like the game plan was very well put together and they were well prepared. I understand those penalties. I understand, but it was rust. Preseason wasn't what it usually is. But the game plan was so well thought out, and it was so. I don't want to call it perfect, man, but it was great as a football fan. It was great to see a team be as creative as they were, and to see you saw Sirianni's fingerprint on this offense. You saw how much he loves football with the way they ran the offense. That's my point.
I'm getting to my point in a minute. It's loading. It's loading. Right. I gotta load something right now. Hold on. I promise it's worth it. I promise.
In the meantime, I will say that I think what's going to happen and what we're going to see a bit. I don't think the Falcons were prepared for anything. They've never seen it, right? So even Sirianni was at the Colts. He's not calling plays. So I think that we will see an adjustment period. I don't know if this is going to be what we see from defenses and offenses year round. I think they are going to attack our weaknesses and learn. So I think that as good as a game as it was, the Falcons were not prepared at all. Like that was one of the sloppiest games I've seen on their side of the football. They came out all right in the first half.
They came out hot with Ridley. Like he just died afterwards.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, to their credit, I think that was some adjustment by Gannon. But yeah, man, not a good Falcons team at all. I thought they might be better, and who knows? Maybe that was just first game jitters, but. We beat up on a shitty team, though, and that's more than we can say for the last couple of years, right?
But they did exactly what they were supposed to do against a worse team. You get me?
Yeah.
Like, past couple of years, we couldn't do that against worse teams. We couldn't. It just wasn't possible for some weird reason.
Yeah. You see the attention to detail. You see those, they're not going to make mistakes like we've seen with Doug Peterson. Obviously, the offsides and all those things and some holding calls. But I think those are just jitters. I think those are just getting back into the rhythm. But it's really just determining the floor of this team. I've yet to see the ceiling, I think.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So last year in 12 games, Miles Sanders, that's how many games he played. He averaged 5.25.
Can you rewind for two sentences back? Say how many games was it?
12.
Okay, just emphasize that part. I just want to emphasize that.
That's
just for the Sanders haters out there, I just want to emphasize that it was 12 games.
It's less than 16.
Obviously.
Okay. So he averaged 5.25 carries in the second half or overtime. 5.25.
Yep.
Yesterday, 2 days ago on Sunday, he had 11 carries in the second half. 11. So it's his Miles Sanders stock is up and up and up and up and up.
Absolutely.
Because we saw that. It's a shame that he wasn't used still, towards the end. Obviously, it was a blowout, so you really didn't need to use him that much because you want to see him finally get to 100 yards. I think he's only gone there a couple of times, maybe once in his career. So he had 74 yards. Okay. But still, 11 carries. That's tied for fifth most in the entire league. Week one in this, I think it's tied for fifth most, but there's 9 people. There's 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. So Joe Mixon had 16 in the second half. And so it's refreshing. Obviously, we were all very frustrated with the defense to start the game.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
It was very Gumby-like, very bendy, very, very bendy, but it didn't break. I went as far as to say it's probably the worst defense I've ever seen in my life. But it's I'm not that reactionary. But it was what we wanted to see, at least me, and I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying the same thing. What will Jonathan Gannon do to adjust?
Mm-hmm.
We are so used to Jim Schwartz seeing something happening in front of him and saying, you know what, that's okay. Just keep doing that. Just it'll get better. But no, Gannon really got his guys going. He said it in his presser today that they went back to the basics, and they we saw what happened. I think it was the first time they had a second half shutout in years. I forget how many years exactly, but I want to say at least 6 or 7 years.
And they didn't allow a touchdown at all in this game. First time since week 8 of last season.
Between 2017 or 18 and 2020, they had 3 games where they didn't allow a touchdown. 3 games in 3 years. They already have 1. It's and I do not doubt that that's not the only one that we're going to see. I think there's going to be plenty more, but I think we saw that a coaching staff get very creative. We saw Javon Hargrave just freaking
monster. Freaking monster.
More people out there, and we see the $33 million man that we were trying to see last year.
Yeah, the highest pass rush rating out of all the defensive linemen in the league.
So he showed up. We got still have some stuff on the back end to clean up. There were some secondary issues like there always is, and people were complaining that the sacks weren't there until Javon Hargrave and Hassan Ridgeway woke up later on. But it was just the same thing that we saw years ago. Obviously, it's different defense, but we had pass rush. I really liked our pass rush the entire game. Mm-hmm. It's just that Matt Ryan was getting the ball out very quickly because it was still very cushiony. It was still very Jim Schwartz-like. But they cleaned it up, and the offense, we saw finally a screen to someone not named Greg Ward.
By the way, Greg Ward only saw 16 snaps in that game and no targets.
And Boston Scott saw 0.
Was Boston Scott even in the stadium?
I think he was waiting at MetLife. He's waiting for November's game. But he saw, I think, only 12 snaps on special teams anyway. But we saw Quez really show off that speed. We saw Rager show off that speed. We saw guys that were built for this league in ways that, we saw guys use their college skills finally, that we were waiting for them to do that. It's I was so excited for this start. I want to say my expectations are low still, but let's be real. This is a Super Bowl team.
I want to tackle Ron's questions because he asked some good questions.
Which question is that? The defense?
So what I saw, and this is just from my eyes, what I saw the main difference is we came out, we had Jannard Avery on the outside. We were really trying to attack those tackles, really get upfield on the outside, and contain in the middle. And what I saw a lot of is some really athletic, really agile, young linebackers over pursuing. There's a lot. There's a ton where they blocked the initial run, and then you saw a cutback from Mike Davis. And they're getting a ton of yards doing that. So I think, one, the adjustment was what Gannon said, is go back to the basics. No over pursuit, really know your assignment. And then 2, they started attacking that rookie guard. I don't know.
Wakefield, I think it was?
Yeah, he had a PFF score of 4 or something like that. One of the lowest that I've ever seen. And they just went after him. They stopped worrying about the outsides. Obviously, they noticed the Falcons weren't really trying to get the outside. I think that you saw a bit of that. They tried to get to the outside, and BG made that huge tackle right in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
That was massive. The Falcons already knew they weren't.
When he killed Mike Davis?
Yeah, exactly. So they knew they couldn't get outside. And then so they really started pushing down that middle, and then linebackers are just way more disciplined. That's what I saw. So, it wasn't great the first series, but I think easily that's fixable. This defense is going to get way better at that. I don't know the Falcons.
Do you guys know who the highest graded linebacker for the Eagles was this game?
Sean Bradley.
You couldn't just wait a couple minutes, just let it pause.
Welcome to being a teacher.
I like that. Patrick Johnson made a play too. He only played 10 snaps.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the thing. This whole rookie class made impact plays. When was the last time we saw multiple, not even just multiple?
When was the last time you saw rookies get meaningful snaps?
Just one rookie get meaningful snaps, let alone do anything. And we saw, obviously, Smith, one touchdown and then he went 6 for 71, tied to Deshaun Jackson for most catches in the debut. We saw Kenny Gainwell get a touchdown. We saw Milton Williams be in the backfield a lot, and we saw Patrick Johnson get in there. It was a great game for the rookies.
And on top of that, the secondary. I mean, I'm reading right now. All 3 starting cornerbacks graded in the top 20 for the position in week 1. Vontae Maddox, the highest graded cornerback.
I think we owe an apology to Vontae Maddox.
Fuck that. No, fuck that.
What's wrong?
Right.
What's wrong? What do you do?
Coverage wise, maybe, but he still sucks as a tackler.
I mean, he made some tackles. He missed.
Yeah, after when he was chasing them down.
Out of 20 cornerbacks, he was ranked in the top 10.
Okay, great. Good for him.
Hey, we shut down Kyle Pitts, that's for sure.
Isn't that wild? Like, it was a telling sign of how good this defense could be after shutting down Ridley after his consecutive catches.
You know what's crazy? They shut down Kyle Pitts, who I have on my fantasy team.
There we go. And you somehow
I still beat down the shit out of Brian in week 1.
Debo Samuel was not meant to have him
feud. I don't want to get in between this feud, but I started Matt Ryan and scored the most points in our league. So listen, Chris, I know that
it looks like me and Morgan are looking up. Things are looking up for me and Morgan.
I'm not doing a chip challenge. First and foremost, that's not happening. So I'm not going to finish last.
Me and Morgan are looking up in fantasy right now while Brian is getting his taste buds ready. Out the week.
I got the worst score from Yahoo team. By the way, any of you that play Yahoo Fantasy, garbage reviews. I hate that.
It sucks.
C+. Like I don't know. I don't mind the app, but Sleeper's got better.
It sucks.
I've tried Sleeper once and want to go.
We are not sponsored, so that's not an ad.
Oh no, no. They do follow me on Twitter though, so shout out Sleeper.
Oh, if they follow you, come on. Let's get the.
Might as well get it going.
Come on, let's go, Morgan. I can't be the only one trying to make his money around here.
Well, I just heard Brian. He's like, oh, I don't know about Sleeper. I was like, we can't have that.
No, I was saying I've tried Sleeper once or twice. I haven't tried it since then. It's been a while.
Oh, yeah. For basketball, though, you said, right?
Yeah, I think it was for basketball, some kind like that.
Yeah, and Ben's making some great points about Warden here. Absolutely.
No, we're not talking about. This is not about Greg Ward. This is about the redemption of Jalen Reagor, the redemption of Jalen Hurts, the sky high rise of Devontae Smith, and one person that in particular that I feel like needs to be talked about heavily is Dallas Goedert.
Yeah.
They need to stop playing games with Zach Ertz and Goddard, like, this whole let's see him play for the season. I understand Goddard has health issues. I understand he has issues of staying healthy. But there's a connection between Hurts and Goddard that we didn't see brewing at all. We didn't see possibly happening. I didn't think they'll be targeting the tight ends that much, but the fact that Nick Sirianni before the game came out saying that they're going to put the ball in Goddard's hand as much as possible is a telling sign like, hey, this is my guy going forward after this season. It needs to happen with Dallas Goedert.
He had that one bad drop, but otherwise, like, his hands are certified.
But that bad drop wasn't like
it was just concentration. He just looked away.
Yeah,
I was ready to trade him after that drop.
Yeah.
Is that your turtle again?
No, I think that was Dallas Goedert dropping that ball.
I was ready to go Tyree Jackson already. I know he's still weeks away, but
my thing is like to invest in Tyree, like if the theory is actually true where they're gonna invest in Zach Ertz and have Tyree Jackson be the future, I think that's a little too premature to make that kind of move. Like you're getting a little cocky off the Jordan Mailata stuff. Just a little cocky.
I have a few. And sometimes I have these feelings. Sometimes the doctor needs to get involved, but I have a feeling that I just like the Zach Ertz situation. Yes, he said that. Yes, he said that he wants to retire on the Eagles, and this is where he wants to be. He loves the city, and he didn't want to do all the drama and all that stuff. And good for him. I love that. But I have a feeling that there might be a little handshake deal behind the scenes. Like, listen, you'll get to do whatever you want next year. You're a free agent. Build your, and you can get to pick and choose wherever you want. Because I really don't think. I think this is last year's Zach Ertz. I really do, and I think with this
case, and you don't play games with Goddard.
I think with this Fletcher Cox, you see this Fletcher Cox restructure.
Yeah. Well, no. So
something's happening.
The Fletcher Cox restructure was the same day of the extension of Mailata on Saturday.
Okay. Well, I don't think that had to do with Mailata. I really don't think it's. Well, it helped you gain space, like a lot of space for this year.
Yeah, they have $11 million in cap room.
in the past, we never see one of these, right? They usually come in 2s or 3s. I know they don't have that many options for restructures, but I would imagine how he's moving some money around.
Oh, seriously? Texans are signing. I'm sorry, guys. Texans are signing Graylin.
Oh well, good for him. He's going home. Yeah, he's going home. Good for him. That sucks though. Good for him though.
Yeah, sucks he got to play for the Texans. Tough break.
Poor guy.
Yeah, that definitely.
I should text him. I still have his number. I should text him.
I'm interested to hear you guys. What game surprised you the most? What was the big one for you guys that was like kind of put you on notice?
On the others, like every other game in the league?
Yeah, not the Eagles game.
The Dolphins, because now we don't have these 2 0-1 picks.
All right, fair enough. Did that surprise you though?
No,
I feel like I saw that.
No, I honestly thought they were going to lose, but yeah.
Honestly, the Raiders really freaking surprised me last night. Showing up.
Yeah,
I wasn't watching it. I was sleeping.
That was the best and worst OT I've ever seen. Like,
bro, that last touchdown. I mean, the game-winning touchdown was phenomenal. And since
I
Jones get to make that catch,
I thought the Ravens were going to be better. To be honest.
Well, they don't have much of a run game right now.
I know they don't have a run game, but that defense was not good. And I know they also lost Marcus Peters, but
yeah, but that pass rush was pretty good in the first half.
Too. I don't know, man. Like that's a team that was, I guess, before injuries a contender, and I don't know how they're going to make it through the season.
I mean, you got the Texans putting up 37 points. I mean, the Jaguars suck, but
I was surprised by the Packers, man. I know it's happened before.
Packers got their asses kicked.
I know it's happened before where they're like, okay, don't worry. It's 3 games in, they're 0-3, and then Aaron Rodgers turns it on. But
that was an ass whooping.
You just let James Winston score 5 touchdowns on you.
I mean,
and like 200 yards.
Like you have some teams that shouldn't have shown that they were as good as they were, but also you could also see maybe you're not too surprised, like the Cardinals put up 38 points. Listen, obviously I'm a big Eagles fan. Like I'm not maybe big, kind of, but I've been big on the Cardinals for a while. I think they've been really close to Seattle. They've been really close to the Rams for a long time. Niners, I guess, but Niners have been one and done for a while. But it's the Cardinals are really Kyler Murray's legit. Yeah, and even though I was
off him for a long time,
even though I was so adamant that Miles Sanders should have been Rookie of the Year, Kyler Murray that year was phenomenal as a rookie. They added AJ Green, who appears to be healthy. A healthy AJ Green is AJ Green. Like that's, it's him and DeAndre Hopkins on the same team.
Got Christian Kirk back involved.
Christian Kirk. Oh my gosh, if they had a tight end records, they would even be more complete than they are now.
Bring back Jordan Hicks.
When's the last 5-sack game too? Like that's ridiculous.
Chandler Jones is a monster. Having JJ Watt on the other side it's the biggest benefit in the world for that guy.
I mean, they need a secondary. They have 0 secondary.
So
especially after Malcolm Butler retired out of nowhere, they lost Patrick Peterson. But that's gonna be rough, and you got I mean, especially what they did to the Titans too. Like this, like the Titans been so good for pretty long.
By the way, Derrick Henry, his ass did not show up, and I'm gonna blame him for my loss against you. But
okay,
real quick question before we bring our guest on, and we bring back the Know Your Enemy series, which we the originators of, just to put that out there. Jalen Hurts, did he?
We see you on the podcast.
Yeah, a lot of bite marks on our swag.
I can't take credit for this. I just joined this.
We see you.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts, are you guys heavily impressed with how he looked on Sunday, or is it more like, hey, like I need to see a little bit more of what he's gonna do, under pressure and when things are not looking great?
Chris, you obviously have to see quarterbacks do more than one game. I know we saw him 4 of the starts last year. 5
games in, pretty much.
Yeah, we're 5 games starts, and not sure if you've seen this. I don't know why this got more traction. Maybe it's just because no one likes me. Jalen Hurts is the only quarterback in NFL history. That means out of any team ever in NFL history to have over 1,000 passing yards and over 300 rushing yards in the first 5 starts. only ever. Like, which is, I feel like is surprising. Like, you have Vic and you have Lamar Jackson, you have Russell Wilson, you have all those guys, and apparently Jalen Hurts is the only one to ever do it. So it's historic. So obviously he's very talented. It's just that I hope next week's gonna be very telling. Atlanta's defense sucks. We knew that coming in. We knew they had a really bad defense. But now you're coming into probably arguably the best defensive line outside of the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming into arguably the best linebacking core in the whole league. And so secondary is not that great, especially they lost Jason Verrett now. Mm-hmm. And now they have Josh Norman. Bum. It's gonna be a test if Jalen Hurts can navigate the pocket. If the offensive line breaks down, which we don't think they will, they showed they were really good. But if they break down against those guys, and Jalen Hurts can navigate the pocket, that'll show that he's really improved. I think he had a lot of time on Sunday because the offensive line was just beating up. Mailata was just throwing people to the ground.
He's
left and right.
His leap is really one of a kind.
Yeah, we just need we need to see him, like, see Nick Bosa come up in his face and see who else do they got over there. Who's that defensive tackle that they got? He was a rookie last year. I really like him. That's why they traded away DeVaris Buckner. I can't remember his name. They have D Ford. They have Kinlaw. So they have really good guys. Fred Warner, freaking linebacker, is outstanding. So he needs to see these guys go in his face and just either navigate it, juke him. I hate to say it like this because this guy sucks right now, but we need to see him navigate the pocket like vintage what Wentz used to do. Because Wentz,
we saw a little bit of a glimpse like that.
17, 18 Wentz, you couldn't touch him in the pocket. You absolutely cannot touch him. We need to see that from Wentz.
His pocket awareness against Atlanta was pretty damn good. Seeing him step up in the pocket, seeing him just, at times he did react a little bit erratic and a little too early. But for the most part, he looked pretty well-rounded in this game.
Yeah, I think you're kind of pointing at the point I was going to make as well. Is there's a couple times there where he just got antsy, rolled out a bit too early, not always resulting in sacks, but just some unnecessary throwaways and stuff like that. Definitely some misses, especially over the middle. I know his passing chart was definitely more to the outside, so he's got to get a bit more comfortable stepping up, throwing in the middle. Going to be a difficult team to do that against. Like, the weaknesses really are on the outside, but still, I think that he just needs to trust that a bit more and step up in the pocket. I think what Chris is talking about with Wentz escaping the pocket and all that stuff, a lot of the times the best plays Wentz made were escaping the pocket up the middle. And we didn't see any of that really from Hurts, maybe one or two plays, but he's really trying to go to the outsides, which when you have guys like Nick Bosa on the outside, you're just not going to get away with that.
No.
So he really just needs to trust that pocket. I love to see Miles Sanders was a great blocker. Kenny Gainwell is getting there. But I would be surprised if we don't see more Jordan Howard as the season goes on, just as, I know he's on the practice squad, but just to add that extra blocker.
Mm-hmm.
And then honestly, man, just hitting those checkdowns, like I think someone in the chat said it, like watching the game back, Devontae Smith was open almost every play.
Yeah.
Whether he wasn't looking or he just was looking for something bigger. Really, everything was open against the Falcons. You couldn't really go wrong. But against the 49ers, you're really going to have to take your checkdowns, really going to have to get the ball out quick. So that we didn't necessarily see so much of with the Falcons. But just having some pocket awareness and not trying to do everything by himself. I think that for me, like what I wanted to see out of this season is just him not make any mistakes. And, no interceptions, no fumbles. Pretty damn good, but
can I say something?
When can you not say anything?
I want to go on the record, and I didn't want to put this in the tweet yet because I wanted to say it out loud. And
you want to hear yourself say it out loud? Is that what
I hate being wrong. I absolutely hate being wrong. It doesn't happen often, but I absolutely hate it. But on the record, let the record show that I am taking a big plate of the largest crow you can find.
Okay.
and eating it, because we everybody who listens to this and follows me on Twitter, I have been steadfast in my belief that Devonta Smith, when he gets hit, it's not going to feel great because he is as big as my leg. And he shut me the fuck up on Sunday. Like I get it. We've seen it in preseason a little bit. We saw it in practices, but we saw it against corners and linebackers and people that are really big and much bigger than him. He put on a clinic, and I don't think that was a fluke. I mean, I know it was only one game, but this dude, he's special. He's absolutely special.
He's a hell of a blocker because he got a high grade in blocking as well as JJ.
The fact that he did all that too, it's incredible. Like I think the Eagles really they hit a home run. Like kudos to Howie for the trade. I hate saying that too, but I think he hit an absolutely home run with Devontae Smith, and I think it. And I said this on Twitter after the game or during the game. You know, you can call me a homer for this. You can call me whatever you want for this. But I think we might have the best quarterback wide receiver duo in Eagles history between Hurts and Smith. Oh. If Hurts works out, I think Hurts to Smith may end up being better than McNabb to TL just because of the longevity of the pair.
This doesn't usually happen often, but I completely agree with that statement.
I'm not there yet, but hey, I love the optimism. But yeah, what really impressed me, and you brought it up, Brian, was the blocking. He is fantastic. Mm-hmm. Man, you just can't jam this guy, and for a guy who's 165 pounds, like you'd think you really only need to get one arm on that guy, and that shouldn't be that much, but you just can't. And I don't know,
defies it. He defies all that, like this,
First of all, built like a frog. His wingspan's crazy for a guy his size.
Mm-hmm.
That helps. But yeah, the I don't know what it is, and it's easy to say against like college corners. Some of them aren't so good. He was doing it, and that's fantastic. There's always a leap when you get to the NFL. I know the Falcons don't really have anyone that special, but yeah, it's something different.
So speaking of a team that may not have anybody that special on the second.
Hold on a minute.
Drew
215 wants to talk about my D.
No, we said we're not talking about your D on this podcast again.
Trying to get sponsors, my friend.
But anyways, joining us today for our Know Your Enemy series, we have Patrick Holloway, former member of Niners Nation. What's going on?
Yes, former member of Niners Nation. I have to thank you guys. I haven't been talking about football in 2 years. You just theoretically got me out of the house. So thank you for doing that. And I'm happy that you guys are moving on from your game because the 49ers seem to still be stuck on last Sunday now that Raheem Mostert's injured and all their stuff. So already things are looking up for you guys. We're still worried about what happened to us last Sunday.
Former Eagles great, Raheem Mostert. Former Eagles practice squad legend.
Yeah, and I was thinking about your claim about having the wide receiver quarterback tandem, and I'm wondering that too, given what I've seen from the Eagles, because I was thinking, just like you said, McNabb and Owens, that was good. I think of Michael Vick and him, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I had two in the Eagles. Him and Djax were actually really. That was elite. It was 1 year. I know it was 1 year, but I also remember them almost getting a bill on Washington that year. So
I was at the bar with my best friend at the time, and he's a Redskins fan, and that was just phenomenal.
Yeah, I would like to say yes, but I've also seen a lot of good like Eagle quarterback pairings, and that would be cool if you could get that. But I'm trying to think back. It was like that was always fun when they got the right quarterback, the right receiver. It was like Montana and Rice over there, just seeing that go around. It was really fun.
I just think as Eagles fans, we've been just teased for a long time with all these pairings. It's just that we've never had the longevity of a quarterback and wide receiver that can really connect for a long time. Like, who did Wentz have? DGB? for a couple
Alshon
games.
Jeffrey.
Alshon Jeffrey for really 1 year.
The ghost of Torrey Smith.
You know,
Hurts would be the guy.
I'm pretty sure Devontae Smith is the guy. Yeah, like you said, Morgan. We just need to hope that Hurts is the guy.
Yeah. In the end, it did get you a Super Bowl despite the worrying. So it's not no. We're still worried about that too. We lost the Super Bowl, so.
But you guys didn't lose this Sunday. I mean, the Lions were
they certainly tried to. They certainly tried to lose that game.
But somebody that did lose, I did lose my fantasy matchup to this gentleman over here, who actually had Deebo Samuel on his squad. And Deebo Samuel, we spoke to Footwork King last season, and he was raving about Deebo and his work ethic and everything that Samuel could pull off. And to actually see him do this, like, is this, what's it called, flash in the pan, or is that the word? Is it lightning in the bottle?
No.
Are you asking if Debo's a fluke?
I'm asking if this type
of Debo's a real deal.
He's wondering if that performance is going to replicate itself throughout the season. Like, is Deebo going to get to 1,500 yards?
185 yards a game.
Yeah, is that going to happen? Right now, I mean, if you look at what's happened with the wide receivers, probably. I was the exact side of the coin. I had Brandon Ayuk in my fantasy team. That did not work out well for me.
Why was he on the practice squad? Or was he just benched?
Here's what happened to Ayuk. He started out good in training camp, and then had a hamstring flare up, was off again, on again, off again. And then Trent Sherfield was showing up in practice, and Kyle Shanahan basically made the call to give Sherfield more reps. He wanted Ayuk in the game, but obviously since Ayuk's got a hamstring, you're in a 17-game season. You don't want to put him in unnecessary traffic, so he just kind of limited the times that he's going to be targeted with the ball. I think he had 1 punt return, and that was it. But they did clarify, because everyone thought, did Ayuk piss off Shanahan? And it's like, no, he didn't do that. This is not Dante Pettis all over again. This is Ayuk was really good last season. I think there was one game where he made a hurdle over a defender. I can't remember what game that was.
Yeah, you remember what game that was.
Yeah, it's lost on memory. We lost that game, so it's not like it was anything big. That was the one highlight we took home, was he hurdled over a defender, but then that team came up and beat us with a backup quarterback. So, I mean, it's not like we can rest on that. But Ayuk, I think, will turn around. Sherfield's been good, but I think right now when you look at what we have in the wide receiver room, Debo's going to be getting those targets, and he's going to be getting just because of, the lion's share of carries is he's the most healthiest and he's the best one. But when you fumble at the end of the Lions game, that has got to have the coaching staff a little spooked, because Debo has had problems holding onto the ball at the previous, but he's been benefited by either being down, having his knee down before the ball comes out, or the play being whistled dead or something. This time wasn't fortunate. He fumbled the ball, and this is something we've seen a lot of. So he still needs to work on his ball carrying skills. I can't think that the offensive staff's happy to see that at all.
I didn't realize that he fumbled and lost it. What was it, at the goal line?
Are you subtly bragging about?
So I could have beaten you down even more.
No, so
man.
we were down 8. Garoppolo throws the ball. It was a great pass from Garoppolo. He looked, he was going to take the sack, but he saw Debo just come down in the center, threw a nice dart. Debo grabbed it, ran right across the first down marker. Now, here's what you should have done. Anybody in the NFL, when you pass the sticks in this situation, yes, you slide, you go down. You don't try to be a hero. What does Debo do? He keeps going, and then the ball gets stripped. And then
that sounds familiar.
Yep. Yeah, this is all familiar. And then we're back to, this game's not over with yet. How did we lose a 28 or 21 point lead? So that was kind of the thing. And so it's not just fumbling the ball, but it's also knowing, hey, all you need is a first down to win the game. And he lost the ball, and then we had to, basically hope for, Jared Goff to remember he's Jared Goff for us to, get out of there with a win. So, but yeah, I don't know if you've heard, we lost Raheem Mostert for the season today.
Yeah. Well,
so,
I just saw that.
That's a big hit. But you guys, there's a little optimism behind Elijah Mitchell, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, that's what I want to know, because you've seen this system kind of churn out running backs that kind of get it no matter what. And so is this like another product of that, or is Raheem Mostert?
And you also signed a spy in Kerryon Johnson.
True, but they also, you got to remember the reason you have Elijah Mitchell in here is because this is a football team that somehow pisses away tens of millions of dollars of salary cap money every year at the running back position because everybody gets injured. So that's why you had Elijah Mitchell drafted. That's why you had Trey Sermon drafted, who was a healthy scratch in the Lions game. Now we're going to see what he can do this week. But that was more. I am optimistic for Elijah Mitchell. He is speedy. He looks really good. But again, one game, you cannot say anything about any player one game, especially in week one, because everybody gets excited about the quarterback who shows everybody up in week one or comes in, and then 3 games later, they figure him out, and then they know how to stop him. These teams have books on these guys. They know exactly what they're – so what we'll need to see if Elijah Mitchell keeps getting the lion's share of carries, if we get into week 4 and week 5, and the Seahawks, Packers, they can't stop him, then we've got something. But I imagine he's going to slow down once teams get the tendencies of how the running back got some. One thing I noticed from him was he had a tendency to shift and not go through the hole that was made for him. He would go the other way, and teams are going to plan for that. They're going to figure that out, and they're going to make it where you have to go downhill.
So this game is going to be heavily decided by 2 position groups. One position group on each team. It's going to be one in the trenches. I mean, we have our defensive line that seems to have awoken from the grave, even though they were supposed to be this good last season. Hargrave. But you also have your defensive line, who's been consistently great for the past, almost 3 years now?
Consistency great and consistently injured, I might also add.
Well, yes.
Yes, we did get Nick Bosa back. He looks like he hasn't lost a step. We'll know how hard he's going probably as time goes on. The one big wild card has been Javon Kinlaw. He was injured. He was our first-round pick. People in San Francisco, there's a little bit behind the Javon Kinlaw edition. People are a little not happy about Javon Kinlaw, not from the player, but because to get Kinlaw, the 49ers traded away DeForest Buckner. I don't think he needs any introduction. So Buckner gets traded. Yeah, and the situation, the thinking made sense. DeForest Buckner wanted to get paid. The Niners only had so much money. They had contracts coming up. So Buckner was the odd man out. They traded him away, got a first-round pick. It made sense. And then they had a choice between Javon Kinlaw or I would think that offensive lineman that went to Tampa Bay, Wirfs.
Oh, Wirfs, yeah.
It was Wirfs. So you can get Wirfs or Kinlaw at that point. They take Kinlaw. I'm like, okay, it makes sense. Slot him right in. And then Kinlaw just didn't get right up to expectations, and now he's injured. So fans are definitely a little upset. He did not play on Sunday, so we didn't get to see what the defensive line could do, especially when you've got all the starters in there, including Kinlaw, who is a run stuffer. He might not be as aggressive getting to the quarterback as, say, Buckner was, but you can't get through him. And the other problem with the defensive line that I noticed was people were thinking that was a D'Amico Ryans, who's a new defensive coordinator, is bad. I
love D'Amico Ryans.
Oh, I love him too. They think it was bad play calling, and there was some bad play calling, which I'll touch up on later. But the fact their lines were able to run was not really on play calling as it was people just missing their blocks and their assignments. And if Ryans can coach that up and fix that, that's great. But I don't think it was a fact that the Lions were able to run all over them was a indication of a bad 49ers defensive line, or that the wide 9 is stupid or anything like that. And for those of you uninitiated, the wide 9 is what the 49ers run their defensive out. It's a little bit wider. It allows
trust me, Pat. We are very aware of the wide 9 and Jim Schwartz and how much he loved the wide 9.
Schwartz did that too. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. It's just the thing. The thing is with the Eagles, the wide 9, it stresses. It was like wide the whole field, like pretty much what Schwartz did. But it was, with the wide 9, you have to have really good linebackers, and obviously you guys have really good linebackers. We had, so we had these all these these linemen. Obviously, we've had a very good defensive line for a long time. But it's just the linebackers. So when these gaps open up and these running backs are going through, we had Nate Gary, who you had on the practice squad. I think he's still in the practice squad, right? Nate Gary, I believe so. So just if you see him get called up, just pray. Just I kind of hope that he gets called up for the game Sunday, just so Miles Sanders has a career day. It's Whiteside. No, oh my gosh. Imagine if former Eagles number 47 gets called up for the Niners, and J. Jaw goes up on him and scores a touchdown on him. I think Philadelphia might just erupt. Like it's
absolutely.
I now I want it to happen. Now it's just in my head. It's going to be in my head for the rest of the week.
He is with the Niners.
Yeah, he's not good. So yeah, I love D'Amico Ryans, like what you were saying. Like I was hoping before I researched Jonathan Gannon, I was really just pounding the table for D'Amico Ryans to get hired as the defensive coordinator. I love that guy. I think he's super smart. He's a head coach soon. He's a really good guy. But then on the other side, you're gonna have BG Brandon Graham versus Trent Williams, and that's gonna be a freaking battle.
It'll be nuts. Back to D'Amico Ryans for a second. I thought overall he just kind of showed you it was his first game as a defensive coordinator. There is one play that was almost a fatal flaw, and that was the play I think that I will go back and say cost the 49ers the game, and that was the play that let the Lions back into it. The Niners, I believe, just got done scoring off it was either before or after the Debo catch and touchdown house call, but the Lions started doing just short catches. The 49ers were running out of their base 4-3 personnel. They weren't doing anything. And then D'Amico Ryans calls a blitz from the cornerback. Guy comes running in, gets it wide open, runs 30 yards in for the touchdown for the Lions. And I just sat there and I'm like, you're up 21 or 28 points right now. Why are you blitzing? Why? you run 4-3, you let them keep getting 5 to 10 yards every 3 downs, you let them score in garbage time. You don't try to be, but that was the one thing, and that is something that can be debatable. I know a lot of people want to be aggressive. That was the one knock on D'Amico Ryans in particular as far as play calling that I had was, why are you blitzing in that situation? But beyond that, I thought he called a pretty good game.
I was going to ask, I know that obviously the defensive line linebackers, both strengths of the 49ers, now with the injury to Brett, against a Lions team that really doesn't have a lot of weapons back there. How are you feeling about the secondary, and especially going forward?
I don't feel good about it, but at the same time, it's not something that is worrying me because with the 49ers, the secondary is only as good as your pass rush. And right now, the pass rush, we're waiting for Kinlaw to get back, but if Kinlaw can get back and they can produce, 80-90% of 2019's numbers, the secondary will be just fine because you're going to rush them. What wasn't shown on the tape, they didn't get to Goff very much in the Lions game. They brought him down a few times, but what happened was they were getting to Goff and he was throwing erratic throws until, he forgot he was Jared Goff. But he was throwing erratic throws, getting the ball out in a hurry because people were coming for him. And that will make the secondary, that will hide a lot of the defensiveness of the secondary. We've got Emmanuel Mosley coming back. He was out for this week. We've got, I'm gonna mispronounce his name, Demondre Lenore, I believe.
I was just about to ask you about him.
Yeah, he played a good game, but it goes back to what I said. I can't make conclusions after week 1, especially on a rookie in the first game. I remember there was a Green Bay game, and I can't remember his name for the life of me, but everybody's talking about this guy at the practice squad the Niners got. What was it? It starts with an M. It's on the tip of my tongue. But they were like, he's looking good. He's been looking good for 2 weeks, and Aaron Rodgers picked him apart and put an end to that story. So 1 week, I'm not going to draw conclusions, but for a rookie, he looked good. Let's see what he can do with some extended playing time. He's a 5th-round pick. The Niners have been flawless with 5th-round picks. Reed, George Kittle. So that looked good. They've got Dre Kirkpatrick, who they picked up to make up for Jason Verrett's injury. I think Kirkpatrick will need a couple of weeks, obviously, to learn the playbook and the scheme, but I think he'll be good to slot in. And then Jimmy Ward, while he's a safety, he should be able to slot in if he needs to and do some double dukes. He's basically played every position on defense, including nose tackle. So, I mean, I think they're going to be okay. It looks bad, but I think it looks much worse on paper than it will be on the field just because the pass rush is still intact. Now, if Nick Bosa goes down next, like he did last year, now we're in trouble. Now we're in big trouble. But right now we're okay.
So as a 49ers fan and analyst, what are your concerns heading into a matchup against the Eagles, especially a team that not so many people know much about offensively right now?
The fact that we lost to the Eagles using Nick Mullins as our backup quarterback last year, when we were proposed to win with Nick Mullins, even though he was playing. So that concerns me now that we had Jimmy G.
Mullins. Ugh.
I don't know. There was a play where Kyle Juszczyk was running free out of the end zone, and if Mullins hit him, it's a house call, and then somehow he just lame ducks it. I'm like, how do you miss that throw? But then again, the Niners should have won that game. But what really concerns me about the Eagles is that the Eagles have a quarterback in Jalen Hurts who is mobile, can run, and that has been the Achilles heel of the 49ers defense is mobile quarterbacks. Go look at the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray. He loves just to run around. He'll take advantage of the roughing the quarterback calls when he slides to get those extra yards. Also, Russell Wilson gives them fits. I don't know if it's so much of a scheming, again, the wide nine, or if it's just the personnel that they have in there, but quarterbacks that can run have given the 49ers absolute fits. And if Hurts can get around the interior and move around, get his throws off, it's gonna be a long day for the 49ers. That is really what I think will be the X factor, so to speak, will be if Hurts can just get around that defensive line.
Now on the other side, quarterback wise,
yes, that's what I was going to
say. Is this about to be the Jimmy G and Trey Lance show again, like it was last week, or is it really pointing towards Jimmy G, continuing just to be the starter?
I keep telling people this. That was a Jimmy G show with Trey Lance serving as a commercial break. That was
so essentially a Drew Brees and
yes, and that's how it should be. There's a lot of things, and I think you probably discussed this. I do not see the 49ers putting Trey Lance in unless if it's absolute disaster and it turns into a developmental season. Mm-hmm. Trey Lance, if you saw in the preseason, there's a lot of good. I think the 49ers should feel very good about that pick. But I also think Trey Lance is very raw. He goes in the bad habits. He reverted to his bad habits in one game. And I don't know if anybody here plays golf, but when you you're learning a new swing. If you're going from college to the NFL, you're learning a brand new golf swing, and it's very awkward. I mean, you're throwing in a different motion. You're being told, hey, that way you threw it, don't do it like this, do it like this, and move everything around. It's awkward. You're probably going to throw ducks. You do eventually.
It's just funny talking about mechanics from a North Dakota State quarterback and ducks. It's just this reminds me of a guy named Carson Wentz.
Oh yeah. And so the thing is, he needs to sit so he can get this down. I still think, and I have the unpopular opinion, while Colin Kaepernick took the 49ers to a Super Bowl, I do think he started too soon. I think he should have sat after he relieved Alex Smith, simply because what happened was when you watch Kaepernick as he moved through that 2012 season and went into 2013, he started regressing more to what he did at Nevada and less of what Jim Harbaugh was teaching him as far as mechanics and reading defenses and stuff, because that was what was working for the longest time. And since there was nothing to check him, much like a golf swing, you learn the new golf swing, but if it's not working for you, you're going to go back to what you were doing. And, oh, hey, I got a birdie on this hole. I'm just going to keep doing what got me in the trouble in the first place. And so I think with Lance, no matter how –
Dakota State.
Yeah, like North Dakota State. Yeah, I think with Lance, he needs to sit no matter how good he looks, no matter how great he might be in that first game when defenses don't have film on him. He needs to sit. This is Garoppolo's game. I do like that they have him coming in for a spell for the Wildcat, and I think there's going to be an extra wrinkle in it. I wouldn't be surprised if Shanahan is showing this Wildcat formation to get teams to kind of think they're going to run it, and then as we get to week 5 or 6, he's going to call out the Wildcat personnel, and then immediately, right before he takes a snap, Lance just runs up under center and runs like I formation or something, and it just throws everybody off guard because they're thinking he's going to run some, read option. Instead, he just drops back and throws something, and the defenses don't know what to do because they're expecting something else. That's what I think where this might be going.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know we're talking a lot about the major matchups, the on paper, the ones that are going to be the Clash of the Titans, but I think that one thing that I'm really interested to see, I know the Eagles' new defense is doing a lot of new things, being creative, something that we haven't seen in a long time. But going against an offense that's been perennially, fantastic. Let's say the scheme. I love the scheme the 49ers run. Seems to work, even if they're not a great team. Against the Lions and even going forward, what do you like about this offense? What do you think needs to get better? And how do you feel about going against a relatively unknown defense in the Eagles?
The thing about the offense is kind of just goes back to what I've thought in 2020, and I think it's just mostly their pass protection. I thought they did good against the Lions, but also does the Lions correct me if I'm wrong, does the Lions really have anybody good on defense? Because I don't think so. Yeah. So, that looks great, but you really didn't defend against anybody. I liked how Jimmy Garoppolo completed 70% of his passes, but the Lions defense isn't that good. So it's like,
I mean, don't they have Trey Flowers? He's pretty decent. Right?
Yeah, they do.
That's it.
I mean, it was basically Jimmy G playing Contra using the Konami code. Now let's see him do it without that. And so it's like, let's see him not using cheat codes and actually do it. I think the Eagles will be a good litmus test for that. But I'm worried about the pass protection because the Eagles do have a much better defensive line, in my opinion. I think that will be a good litmus test for just to see how this new tooled offensive line will be, especially for Mike McGlinchey. He struggled a lot in 2020, and he even admitted that wasn't his best year. I'm not out on him. I think he just had some growing pains in the NFL, but I really want to see how he can do, especially with pass protection. His run blocking has been great. The other thing is just mostly, I think the offense needs to, settle down a little bit. You saw that first play from scrimmage for the offense was a fumble muff snap because Jimmy got the yips. And I think that was an indication of the offense for the whole day. Sure, they were excited to be out there and stuff, but you just saw some things. I think that was the same thing with Deebo Samuel's fumble towards the end. He was just excited. And I hope that turns it down. But one of the things that I've seen from the offense that is a lot better than what it was a couple of years ago was I remember I would scream at my TV, catch the effing ball so many times with drop passes or just bad throws or deflections off the hands that turned into interceptions. And I didn't see that. I actually saw, them executing quite well, but adding them, that was the Lions defense. So let me see this against the Eagles defense and I'll feel a little bit better. So my concern is mostly going to be pass protection, but just keeping that execution as you go up against a much better defense than the Eagles. And who knows, maybe the Lions do have a good team this year and we just don't know it yet. I don't know. So it's week 1.
I do know that the NFL and Fox, they did a fan poll or something like that to predict the division winners. And it was pretty standard across the board, except the NFC North. And the fans picked the Lions to pick. And I just think that's hilarious because the Lions are really bad. But to answer Ron, they drafted Okudah last year. And he's just been hurt. And he just ruptured his Achilles, so he's out again. So Okudah's out.
Jamie Collins, if you are to. Melifonu. I like him.
Yeah, they've just been bad. They just Darius Slade couldn't get out of there fast enough. It's
hard. It's hard to see that they would pick the Lions to win the North, but then you look at how Green Bay did, and it's not so hard to think. I mean, you already know they're better than that.
And then you got the Vikings lost to the Bengals.
I don't think the Vikings are going to be very good this year.
Oh, that NFC North is rough.
I think the Vikings know they're not going to be very good this year.
Like the Bears, like Matt Nagy has that division to take if he just starts Justin Fields.
I think Justin
Andy
Fields
Dalton is awful.
I think it's the same thing with Trey Lance. Sit him, let him learn. There's so much mental stuff that goes along with it. Yeah, it's going to look good, but what's going to happen when you get put on your back and you get under pressure? And
at least with Trey Lance, he's sitting with a coach that knows what to do. Like Kyle Shanahan's a freaking genius. But Justin Fields, he's sitting and learning from Andy Dalton and Matt Nagy. So it's just like when Matt Nagy's not going to be there next year. Absolutely, he's not going to be there next year. Neither's Andy Dalton. Okay, he's learning from Nick Foles. That's great. He's learning how to be a backup and take him to the Super Bowl. It's just great. But he's rotting away on the bench. Allen Robinson's rotting away out there, just getting throws from Andy Dalton. It's
kind of like how Alshon Jeffrey ended up. Rotting away.
Let's just get another Bears wide receiver over here.
I expected more out of the Bears on Sunday. I didn't think they were going to win that game, but I expected a hell of a lot more than what I saw from that. But
Matt Nagy is bad.
You can wish in one hand and crap in the other and see which one gets filled first, I guess. But you look at the Bears. The Vikings aren't going to be good. The Packers have Johnny Depp from Fear and Loathing Las Vegas as their quarterback. So I mean, they're off doing whatever. They let the Saints run all over them. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions limped in at 7-9. I mean, I had them pegged to go 5-12. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did it. I mean, they could surprise some people just because it's a new coach and a new scheme. I doubt it. But I wouldn't be surprised.
They have Jared Goff at quarterback, and they have no running game. Who's their wide receivers? Like Terrell Williams, he got hurt, didn't he? I think, he's still the number one. But it's like they finally decided to start Sewell at left tackle. I know the other guy was hurt, but
I'm
Sewell's
interested.
A left tackle.
I'm interested to know your opinions on the new look Rams. Actually, in the division. Stafford looked pretty good. And, it's going to be the Seahawks. Who knows? I mean, I don't want to offend, but who knows if the 49ers are going to be there? It seems like it's going to be a Seahawks-Rams race.
I'm going to be honest here. I don't
sleep on the Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals are right there.
And the Cardinals.
Dude, the Cardinals aren't winning shit. Come on. I don't see the 49ers making it to the Super Bowl. I've said this. I think in another year they're going to be really, really good once Trey Lance gets in there and he can start doing the Mahomes stuff. And now, granted, I mean, do I want him to go to the Super Bowl this year? Oh, sure. I'll take that. I'd love to do. I live in Seattle. I'd love to rub that into the residents around here all the time. But I don't think the 49ers are they're loaded, but I think they're just not the Super Bowl team right now, as opposed to maybe people might think. I don't think Seattle is it. I think the Rams could make a playoff push, but I'm was banking on the Packers doing something, but I was wrong about that. So I'm not sure. I was impressed by the Rams, though.
Forget Super Bowl. Who's winning, on your unbiased opinion, who's winning that division?
I would go with the Los Angeles Rams right now. But, I mean, Sean McVay hasn't beaten Kyle Shanahan in 2 years. So
Sean McVay is such an overrated coach.
That's what I like about Doug
He's
Peterson.
very overrated.
He's such an
Doug
overrated
Peterson
coach.
took the fact that Sean McVay won that Coach of the Year award personally, and we beat up on the Rams every
What
single
is
time.
better question? What is the difference between the 2020 Eagles and the 2020 Rams? Nick Mullins beat the 2020 Rams.
I was really trying to dissect that. Like, damn, what is the difference?
I forgot.
Nick
Sean
Mullins
McVay-
could beat the
Sean
Rams.
McVay is just a hair flip. He's terrible. He can drum up some offensive stuff, but really the offensive coach that came out of that Redskins staff was Shanahan.
Mhm.
Like it was Shanahan, and McVay is just a fake wonderkind.
I think he's proven that he's pretty good. He's kept his teams competitive and they've played hard for him. But
I think having Aaron Donald helps too.
Yeah, having Aaron Donald helps, but I also think that they make this offense up. They're like, oh, it's the McVay. No, actually, it's the Shanahan offense because it's basically him doing like a 2.0 version of what his dad did. It's just, I don't see. They're all like, oh, it's the McVay offense. No, it's not. This is the only reason McVay had an offense was because the Rams picked first in the draft for about 10 years, so it had underachieving coaches beforehand. Jeff Fisher was not a coach, so
Spent a ton of money in free agency as well. That is a stacked roster. Like that's the difference between the Rams and the Seahawks. The Seahawks do it despite of their roster. The Rams do it because of the roster. That's what I would say.
And the Rams can't draft. That's the thing. If you look at their draft picks, they're saying, oh, they draft well. No, they haven't. Most of their draft picks have never started. I don't know how. It's very amazing how they've been able to have a competitive team year after year when you look at their
Really,
draft
their only
picks.
draft pick that's doing anything this year is Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Because Robert Woods came from the Bills.
Yep.
Yeah, that is.
Ramsey came from the
Ramsey.
It's
I guess
amazing.
Aaron Donald, but
It's amazing how they could do that because usually for most teams that would spell disaster if you can't have your homegrown picks, but somehow the Rams are able to be competitive.
Howie Roseman.
Yeah.
I mean,
pretty much the whole Super Bowl team, almost a majority of that Super Bowl team was bought. So,
So before we wrap up the podcast, what is your bold prediction for this Sunday? And on top of that, who do you think ends up on top?
I am going to go with the 49ers. I am going to, with the prediction going to be, I think they learned a valuable lesson on Monday last Sunday about how to close a game out. That said, they are beatable. I would not be surprised if the Eagles came back and won this thing late. I think the 49ers come in early. I think they would win maybe a 28-24 game, but I would not be surprised if the Eagles come back in the fourth quarter, kick a last-minute field goal, and put a stop to it. I would not be surprised in the slightest. And make it something like, I would say 31-28, somewhere around there.
Okay. What about you guys?
To me, going into the season, even when we were doing our predictions before the season started, I had this as a loss, to be honest. I thought the 49ers were going to win. But after seeing that last game, I just think the mentality is benefiting the Eagles. I know, I think you're making a good point. Is maybe they learned their lesson again last week. But I think the Eagles can win this. I don't think it'll be high scoring. I think like it'll be more of like a 21-14 kind of thing, 21-17. It's definitely going to be close. But I think it's really going to come down to who can close out the game. And I love the way the Eagles close out the Falcons game. That they could have easily came back and scored a couple touchdowns, scored a couple field goals. They didn't let anyone pass them. So I like the way they close out the game. So I think it'll be close. I did have this as a loss, but I think the Eagles can eke out a win.
Okay, Chris?
Last time the 49ers beat the Eagles, it was Colin Kaepernick versus Nick Foles. 2014.
And Chip Kelly was your coach.
Chip Kelly was our coach. That's how long ago it was.
Time coming.
And that does not change Sunday. Listen, I said it before you came on. This game is going to be a trenches both sides. Like it's going to be seeing if Mailata can withstand Nick Bosa, and if Lane Johnson can withstand D Ford, and if these running backs continue to pick up blitzes, if they can finally go after these linebackers that are really good, and on the other side, it's going to be if Brandon Graham can take over Trent Williams, and if he can't, if they hold up on Brandon Graham, can Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave really beat up on that interior offensive line and put the pressure on Jimmy G? Everything else is it's gonna happen for or against because of that line, those line battles. And I just think right now the Eagles have. I mean, obviously we're biased, but you could argue that the Eagles have the best offensive line in the league. That they're all healthy. When they're all healthy, they're the top, if not one of the top in the league. Same thing with the defensive line, and I think that's the difference. I don't think the Eagles will drop 32 again on this team, like they just did on the Falcons. But I think they can win like a 20-14 or 17 game. I think they can win a really close game,
a real defensive game.
I wouldn't be surprised with that result either.
Okay.
I also like the confidence of having a 49ers fan on here and saying the Eagles have the best defensive line in the league. I appreciate the confidence. I don't know if I agree, but I appreciate the confidence.
Did I say that?
You did.
No, Chris just said that. Chris just said the Eagles have the best, but I mean the 49ers have quite the defensive line.
But Pat said that we had the better defensive line.
I said he had a better defensive line than the Lions.
Yeah, that's the Lions part. We'll take that one.
Yeah.
All right, so.
No, I was saying the offensive line, like defensive line, I get at the top, and I said it before. I said if there's any defensive line that's really going to push the Eagles for best in the league, it's going to be the 49ers. I said it before. It's fine.
Washington. So this game, to me, is going to be one in
Washington.
the trenches.
Who cares about Washington?
It's going to be one in the trenches, and I think whatever team can really establish a run game and actually run with it, first and foremost, is going to end up being the more dominant team. And to be honest, like 49ers are coming out of a game where it almost came out of their hands. They almost fumbled it. Well, no pun intended for Deebo Samuel, but the Eagles are riding a wild high. I mean, like I said, this seems a little unexpected to what they're going to deliver on offense as well as what they're going to deliver on defense. And I think Nick Sirianni pulls all the tricks out of his bag against Shanahan and company. So I'm going to go with, I would say, like 28-22. Eagles.
I apologize, John, for my decor. I apologize.
John, it's because he's Canadian.
You guys all got nice houses. Yeah.
Oh, I see. This is why I haven't seen any comments. I was in private chat this whole time.
No, I was doing that for the week.
It took me a while to figure that out too.
I was like, "What are you guys talking about here? Nobody's commenting on this. What are you talking about?" Oh, here they are.
Nobody's here.
Yeah, what did I sign up for here? This is just like when I was writing Niners Nation. No one comments on my articles.
These guys are losers. Jeez. Well, I mean, we are, but it's okay.
But Pat, thank you for coming on our podcast, man. We really had a good time. We appreciate you making time for us as well.
Hey, thanks for having me.
The house and everything.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me. It was fun talking to you guys. Anytime. If we see each other in the playoffs, I'm more than happy to come back on.
Oh, that'd be really nice, actually.
Yeah.
Gotta make the playoffs first.
Both of us do. Yes. Long season ahead. You guys take care and stay safe.
You too. Thank you, Pat.
There, guys.
All right, guys. So who has the Eagles losing out of the three of us?
Not me.
None of us had them lose. I had them before the season. I had them losing this game, but I thought the 49ers were going to do more than what they did against the Lions, to be honest.
What did I say last week when E-Rock was on? I said, this is going to be the game that we need to see Nick Sirianni outsmart Kyle Shanahan.
He's got to be in his bag in this game.
It's going to be the game.
He's got to be in his bag.
It's easy to outsmart Arthur Smith. I really think Arthur Smith was that good to begin with.
Man. Screens after screens after screens
to Greg Ward.
To me, that was low key like before we end the podcast, a little bit of a genius move by Sirianni, like to throw those consistent screens and kind of get
to use the right person on screens.
Not only that, but to
genius. Like we've been saying this for years now.
To kind of gauge what the Falcons were going to do on.
Like if that's genius, put this on my resume and I'll freaking be an NFL coach.
Whatever. But anyways, guys, yeah.
Quickly,
my prediction for that is Antonio Gibson gets 300 yards and helps
All right, perfect. Hey, for those of you that don't know or don't follow us on Twitter, me and Brian are going to do a second segment answering questions. We're going to do a mailbag. So these are great questions, guys. If you can, head over to our Twitter page and ask us these questions. If not, we'll hold on to them. It's just hard for us to screenshot them in this.
I'm not involved.
Yeah, Chris is too busy. He's having a kid or something. I don't know. Excuses. But yeah, we're gonna be answering questions, guys. So please, we'll be tweeting all week. Just ask us questions. They can be really smart questions. They can be dumb questions. It doesn't matter. We're looking to get more fan interaction. We love you guys. We want to talk to you more. So yeah, please ask us questions, even if it's a comment. You know, Greg Ward's the number one receiver on this team, and he's not getting a fair shot. Fair enough. We'll discuss it on Thursday.
Did you guys know the Rocky statue had an account?
I did not know, but I peeped it a couple times and during the chat, and it kept throwing me off.
I didn't know Rocky could move.
There was another one in here too.
2021. Let's go.
Chris Infant E.
Fuck you, Ben.
All right, let's end the podcast before this gets a little out of hand.
Yeah.
I'm Brian Cameron. He's Chris Infante, alongside Morgan Burkhead.
Say that again, Brian.
Infante. We're flipping the birds, and we'll see you guys next week.
Flipping the birds.
Oof.
Damn.